A very good morning and welcome back to another daily market outlook. We're going to be starting off by analyzing EURUSD. So EURUSD has been moving correctively in towards the downside. Obviously, we finally hit that area of 4-hour demand, which we have been waiting for some time. So at the moment, if we focus on how the market is moving, we can see this corrective kind of descending wedge forming in towards the downside. So what is the difference with a descending and an ascending wedge? Well, in this particular situation, a descending wedge more often than not, indicates that there's going to be a big impulse in towards the highs. An ascending correction, so an ascending channel or an ascending wedge, like this one over here, indicates further downside. And we see time and time again, if we see an ascending channel or wedge, we see further downside form. If we see ascending wedge, we see further downside form. If we see descending price action, such as for example over here, we more often than not see a further impulse in towards the highs. Obviously, this does not always need to happen, but it is more likely to happen. That's all I can say. So overall, the 4-hour swing structure is obviously still bullish from this low in towards this high over here. So I'm now looking to see, can we find and identify any potential longing opportunities back in towards the highs. Now, for a kind of indication that we're going to see further upside, there are kind of two rules that are always used. That is, okay, we come in towards an area of demand such as over here. So that's kind of an indication. As you can see, we're already seeing the reaction. That further upside is potentially inbound. Or the second kind of confirmation that I like to use is obviously lower time frame change in structure, and then mainly on the 4-hour time frame I like to look for something called a change of character. Now in this particular situation, the change of character is all the way up here, so we have to wait all the way for that high to get broken before we can actually even enter the market based on the 4-hour price action. So what I would like to see purely on EURUSD is what I'll do is I'll wait for that high to go, and then wait for that pullback, and then wait for that further upside, because otherwise the market could just start trickling down. And I do sincerely think that if this 4-hour area of demand does not hold and we kind of break this level over here of 107.730, whatever, that we will just start breaking down further in towards the downside, and that overall descending wedge play won't really play out. So that's based on the 4-hour. Now for the rest, based on kind of like the internal structure that we have, this was your internal low. Of course, obviously, like in the first place, we kind of grab liquidity, saw a push up, but then the supply zone just push price straight back down. So now what we're seeing is pretty much the internal structure be from this high in towards this low. So it would also not be surprising if the market does pull back up higher in towards the upside, but we don't really have any obvious areas of supply except for kind of like this buy before the sell-off over here. If we just draw that into a zone, then we can see that we're already reacting to the overall buy before the sell. If we draw that, if we draw it from wick to wick, we are. So that we're coming in towards this buy and then the sell-off. So we're coming in and then we're now moving back out again. So let's just focus on what that 4-hour does. Can that 4-hour break this high over here and see kind of like some bullish momentum come in? Then we could potentially look for those longs. Otherwise, I do see euro dollar just trickling down further and further. Now, just going back in towards the daily real quick, we can see the messy price action that we're getting over here on the daily. Nothing really substantial. Let's just focus on how we react on the 4-hour. And if we do trickle down lower, we don't see a reaction. It could just mean that we're going to see that internal structure shift. Then we get that pullback, and then we get that further downside. So that's euro dollar. Now going in towards the dollar index, what are we seeing over here? The dollar index is stuck inside this area of supply. So we're still waiting to see, can we move further in towards the upside? Obviously, we have kind of like this area of demand, which is sustaining price in towards the upside, and with this area of supply, which is suppressing price. Going in towards the 4-hour, because the daily doesn't really make us a lot wiser, we can see that we're pretty much in the same situation as we were over here in this box. Now we have this area of consolidation over here. So this is the range low, this is the range high. So what is in theory just happening is that we're just consolidating and we're ranging in between, let's say, the lower bound of the range, and we're rejecting the higher bound of that swing range. Now, we did see a further push in towards the highs yesterday, but it was just a liquidity grab above this high. Then again, straight away a reaction in towards the downside. But I mean, what can I say about this? I can kind of make this look very interesting, but overall we're just consolidating. So obviously we're now at the 75% mark, so we could see a further downside reaction. All I'm waiting for is just really a candle close above that 4-hour swing high over here. And once we see a 4-hour candle close, that means that we're swing bullish. And then I do think, or we're obviously already swing bullish, but that means that the 4-hour bullish continuation is more likely to continue. So let's see if we can get that further upside. It is more logic for the dollar index to start pushing up higher. So let's just focus on that for now. Still a lot of liquidity open above these highs, kind of like a trend line over here. So I would like to see the dollar push up higher. Now going in towards Aussie dollar, what are we seeing over here? So Aussie dollar did move in towards the highs further, pretty much as we expected, despite it, of course, being very rangy. But overall, we have seen some continuation from this 4-hour demand zone finally. So now what I'm looking for is to see how are we going to react inside this 4-hour order block. This is pretty much the 4-hour demand zone, which caused a change of character. So now let's see if we can move up higher from here, looking for a 15-minute entry on Aussie dollar. Now going in towards the 15-minute, because obviously that's what we're all interested in, there's not much. I mean, it's very consolidative, but overall what I'm looking for to see is a reaction to this area of demand over here, liquidating this low as we are currently doing, or even a reaction to this lower area of demand over here. So let's see if we get that bullish intention, then look for a 50-minute change of character. So for example, over here, that would be a break of this bullish high. So push in, push out, pull back, and then continuation is what I would look for on Aussie dollar. Obviously, still needs some development. If that does not happen, then we'll just continue inside of this range over here furthermore. If we do push up higher, then we know these two target zones of supply. Moving in towards pound dollar, so GBPUSD. Yeah, so what are we seeing? I mean, again, it's so consolidative, guys. It's so consolidative, just stuck inside this area of demand. Obviously, the internal structure is bullish. So from this low in towards this high, let me just draw it out for you. And then we had a change of character yesterday. So we broke this high over here, meaning that this is now kind of your area of demand. So you could look for a potential long back up as we are near the 25% mark pretty much. So going towards the 15-minute, then what you'll see is actually there's not much. I mean, this is your swing low, this is your swing high, this is all just a pullback. Yeah, I mean, we didn't even get a candle close above this high over here. So it is still very low probability, everything in here. So yeah, just focus on those potential longs though. I mean, over here we have kind of like this area of demand. So wait to see if we can kind of see a momentum shift in towards the highs, then look for those longs. But again, the highest probability trade will come once we kind of break this high over here, then see a pullback and then further continuation. Otherwise, we could just continue consolidating over here on the 15-minute, but also on the 4-hour, because the 4-hour is obviously still very messy. I would still prefer for pound dollar to move down in towards the lows, with this being your swing high, this being your swing low, and this being your area of demand. So I'm still favoring a further downside move on pound dollar. But for that to happen, we need to break this low first of all. Moving in towards NZDUSD, so Kiwi dollar. So NZDUSD moved up higher, pretty much like we were expecting as well. So what we can see is that we got a change in character yesterday. So on the 4-hour time frame. So just to make it clear, guys, this was your fractal low, then this was your fractal high. So we break the fractal high. This is the high which broke this low. Then this becomes your area of demand that broke, that broke this fractal high over here. We tap in and we move back out again. So very clean price action. Now on the 50-minute, I was looking for a potential long. So let's see, did we get anything? Like on the 15-minute, no candle close above. So still very messy, just kind of like a liquidity grab. Then we push back down, obviously back in towards kind of like this sell before the buy. So not my favorite kind of setup. At the moment, 15-minute is kind of like ascending corrective. So I would not be surprised if we do see a further drop for the rest of the day back in towards like this entire sell before the buy range. Going in towards the 4-hour once more. Yeah, it is still kind of now just arriving at the top of the range. So this is your range high and this is your range low. So we're kind of just at the top of the range. We need to break out if we want to see kind of like those cleaner moves start to form. But for now, just wait and see how we react to this area of supply or demand, excuse me. So look for that corrective 15-minute price action downside, and then we look for a further long in towards the highs on NZDUSD for now. Now our last pair, gold, because gold has taken liquidity above the high as we wanted. So we've now grabbed the liquidity above this high. So let's see, either we're now going to start crashing in towards the downside, and we could look for shorts once we break this 4-hour fractal low. So boom, boom, boom. Or what will happen is that we'll just start pushing up higher in towards this supply zone over here. But this is an interesting area of liquidity, like I mentioned in the previous videos. So keep an eye out for that area of liquidity slash supply, and it becomes valid for myself once we break that 4-hour fractal low. Then I know that there's something substantial above the highs, and I will be looking to take an entry. So that's that overall for the day. Wish you all a fantastic day. Make sure to join Discord. Some potential trade setups going to be dropped today inside Discord, so make sure to join, and I'll see you there. Thanks, guys.